It was very emotional for me because thinking back and knowing that I was dropping off my child every day at school to be tied down was very tormenting and very emotionally draining. My name is Thelma Lira. I am Damien Lira's mother. My son is 4 years old. He is a child who has been diagnosed with autism, with ADHD, and a speech delay. I'm here today to tell my version of what happened with Damien at his school when he was in a pre-K early childhood special education classroom. I enrolled Damien at M. Rivas Elementary School in Donna ISD. In October, he was evaluated and he was approved and qualified for special education services, which is when he moved into the classroom where it all happened. And so in February, the principal called me to inform me that she received a report that the teacher and the teacher assistants in Damien's classroom were utilizing seat restraints to tie down Damien and several other of his classmates. And this was not a one-time incident. This was something that was happening throughout the entire school year. I was completely shocked. I had no idea. I had no clue prior to that this was happening in Damien's classroom. Once I found out what had been happening, a lot of the behaviors and a lot of things kind of were brought to light, and I was understanding how and why Damien was behaving a certain way and kind of changing from how I know my son to be and from when he started school. Most of it was a lot of crying, the struggle in the morning to get him to school. Just the mention of school was a bit triggering for him. And so it was, difficult just to get him going in the morning, dropping him off at school. He wouldn't want to get off of the vehicle. And before anything, I thought it was, well, this is his first year of school. This is something that kids go through, I mean, it's a new environment, and he had never been in school. This was his very first year. And so it didn't seem something out of the ordinary, but it was, once I found out what it was happening, it was as well, okay, this was a red flag at that point, but like I said, I never thought something like this was going to be happening at his school. Another was the high chair that we have for him at home. It's like a booster seat that we have for him in our dinner table. He has his own chair. He wouldn't want to sit in it. And just seeing when we were wanting to buckle in the buckles that the chair has, he would hesitate and he would push it away and he would say no. And he would want to get off and run off, and he wouldn't want to sit. Nighttime, I would notice at night he would cry out of nowhere. He'd be asleep and he'd end up waking up crying as if something was tormenting him. And so when I found out about him being restrained in school, and I said, okay, all of these things are piecing together. Everything is making sense as to Damien's behavior. It was very emotional for me because thinking back and knowing that I was dropping off my child every day at school to be tied down was very tormenting and very emotionally draining. The case was referred to CPS, the Child Protective Services, and the case was investigated, but the outcome wasn't favorable. It was closed. The case was found to have no reason to believe that there was abuse happening, that the that was happening to my child, to Damien and his classmates, of being restrained in the class, even though there was evidence of classroom footage of what was happening to them daily. It's unfair to my child. It's unfair to the other children. Just because of a certain word isn't included in that definition of how the law is written, there's nothing that the people who are responsible for my child's torment in school, for our family's torment, they're basically not going to be held liable because of that. There's nobody that's being held responsible for what happened to my child and to the other kids. My child couldn't speak up for himself. And the thing is that the children who were being restrained were children who could not speak, because there were other children in the classroom who were verbal. But to me, and what it seemed like was they were certain children that were targeted and where these restraints were being used with only the children that couldn't speak. The wording of this law needs to be different. It's not fair to my child. It's not fair to the other children. It's not fair to anybody, the family that are experiencing this, that are going through this, that there will be no charges, that there'll be no repercussions at all whatsoever, just because the word of physical abuse isn't on there or a certain word is on there. And I implore you to please consider changing the wording to this law, doing what you need to do. And if there's anything in your power that you can do to avoid this happening to anybody, please do it.